All right, let's be real about selling on Amazon. Because in 2025, Amazon saw the fewest amount of new sellers signing up for the platform in almost a decade. It's estimated that about 80% of all new Amazon sellers will not survive their first year, and a lot of people are calling this the death of the small Amazon seller. Because while all that's true, here's what's also true. Last year, over 61% of all sales on Amazon went to people like you and I, and this year that's expected to increase to 64%. That's billions of dollars. And what's also true about that 80% of sellers that try Amazon and fail in their first year is that most of them are trying to replicate the exact same things that worked on Amazon in 2020 and expecting the same results today. So as someone who's been selling on Amazon since 2018 and now makes a full-time income selling products on the platform, I want to break down all of the important Amazon changes that have happened recently, and we're going to talk about which ones are actually problems that you need to adapt to and which get blown out of proportion. Because at the end of the day, before you spend your time and money starting something like an Amazon business, you need to know the insights of what selling on Amazon is actually like from a real Amazon seller, not random people online who are commenting about how it's dead. Because we'll get into, they're very right about some things, but they're extremely wrong about others. And knowing the difference between the two is how you separate yourself from the 80% of people who fail. So the way we're going to do this is break down a lot of the most common fears that I see all across the internet from novice Amazon sellers. And that first one also involves just breaking down how this business model even works, right? Because some of the best products to sell on Amazon as a beginner are things like this, because the best products to sell in 2026 are not inventing your own product from scratch. It's taking advantage of existing demand. The vast majority of those sellers who are failing are trying to reinvent the garlic press and all kinds of things when there's already massive cash flow sitting waiting for you to come and claim it, right? So it's stuff like this. We can go to the Nautica website right now and buy this polo for 20 bucks on sale, and we can sell this exact same thing on Amazon over 100 times a month, plugging in our cost on SellerAmp. You can see that's going to make us about 14 bucks in profit per sale. And that's especially relevant when we're talking about the first fear from those novice Amazon sellers, because I also believe that lie that sellers like us are not allowed to sell name brand products on Amazon. Now, what is true about that is there are lots of products on Amazon that you should not sell. The brands might want to kick you off some products. Amazon doesn't let you selling some products. But what is also true is that resellers like us fill a massive gap in the market. Because from Amazon's perspective, instead of having to go to Nautica and all these other random popular websites and having to buy all the things that aren't carried on Amazon and carry it themselves, all they have to do is just provide a marketplace for people like us to go in and fill that existing demand. Clearly, people already want to buy Nautica polos on Amazon, so all Amazon wants us to do is go in there, fill in the gap, and then they get to make billions of dollars in fees just from giving us a place where people already want to buy those products. So in just a second, I'll show you the difference between those types of products, ones you are allowed to sell and ones you're not. But the other important thing to remember is that Amazon also accepts all of these online order documents as long as you're sticking to legitimate online retailers, which in our case, we're buying directly from the Polo brand's website. What more documentation could we possibly have to prove that we're buying authentic products to Amazon? And I know for a fact that Amazon accepts these online order confirmations, receipts, and tracking proof, because not only have I used them to appeal things in my Amazon account as recently as last week, Amazon asked us for proof that we should actually be allowed to sell a brand on Amazon. I submitted my invoices from an online retailer, and we immediately got approved to start selling that brand again. And that's not only true for me, it's also true for the thousands of people that I've helped sell on Amazon. And you would never see veteran arbitrage sellers buying from websites flipping on Amazon if it wasn't allowed, but we do. We see people who've been doing arbitrage for 2, 3, 5 decades long on Amazon, and that would not be possible if Amazon didn't allow it. But there are totally products you're not allowed to sell, right? Things like this is what you want to avoid. Lots of products on Amazon might always have one consistent seller like this person right here. Pattern is a pretty well-known seller that locks up a lot of brands on exclusives, or you might also see sometimes the brand themselves are actually selling on these products. And when I look at the entire price history of this product, you see how it's pretty much always 1 or 2 sellers on it, pretty much always Pattern. When you zoom out to the all-time view, you can see what this actually used to look like when it was a reseller friendly product, right? You can see the price changing a lot, lots of new sellers all over this listing. And the same is true of this product that we looked at as our example, right? You can see sales are rotating between plenty of different sellers of different sizes. This is clearly something that we would have plenty of success on as a small third-party seller. So hopefully that adds some clarity if you've heard before that you're like not allowed to sell name brand stuff on Amazon. And that was obviously one example. If you want to see lots more examples of products to avoid and products to buy, I'll leave a link down below. There's a free course, comes with a checklist of everything I look for and specifically what to avoid to make sure you have a healthy account. And this is a good spot to get into the second fear that I see from novice sellers, because since the day I started selling on Amazon, I've continually seen lots of social media comments saying, oh, I can't get approved to sell anything on Amazon. I can't get approved to sell any name brands. And this was actually part part of the reason why I also didn't sell any of those name brands for that first year and a half, right? I didn't think you were allowed to, and I also didn't think you were even able to get approved to sell those brands, but you definitely are. And in fact, you can get 50 to 100 of those brands for free right now. Because while some brands are restricted on Amazon, that's actually the smallest group of products on Amazon. These are things like Lego bricks or Nike shoes. A lot of things like that have been locked off for new sellers for years now. But there's also gated products, which anyone can apply to sell via invoices from big retailers or wholesalers. And there's products that are auto ungated. These are products that you could literally sell in your account right now. You just need to be able to quickly scan for them and know what those opportunities are. So if ungating has been a big roadblock for you, what you need to do is get a free trial of Boxem down below right now. Go into inventory and then click bulk ungate and then just press bulk scan. What we can do from here is just press the check suggested ASINs button. This is basically a list of a bunch of products that are tested to work for lots of new Amazon sellers. And this is going in and applying on your behalf to try to ungate these brands for you. You can see it can do up to 5 per second. And these are all brands that Boxem is ungating for me in real time. This is something that's going to work a lot more effectively for me because my account is pretty old. I've sold $7+ million at this point, but there are a ton of these brands that will be approved for you right now if you've sold $0. Like I said, typically I'll see 50 to 100 brands approved right away for new sellers. And now once you've generated this list, you've basically skipped the step that Amazon sellers had to deal with for years, because this is something that's only existed for like a couple months in the Amazon community. Now you can just go in, click one button, and you know a huge list of things you're actually allowed to sell. And using that list, we can source plenty of profitable opportunities. And if you want to see what that process looks like, be sure to stick around because we'll source a product together. And let's actually just go ahead and dive into the process of what finding one of these profitable products even looks like. Because like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Amazon has already increased their fees for 2026. What I can tell you at a very high level view is that in these 7 years since I started selling on Amazon, the proportion of my revenue that has gone to Amazon fees has gone up by a couple percent. So yes, Amazon fees have definitely been going up over time, even if a lot of that difference might be explained by me trying to scale too aggressively and buying some sloppier products a few years ago. But specifically for 2026, we did have that new fee increase. So let's just jump back into the computer and try to source something and keep in mind how big of a difference that's going to make for us. So let's just actually go back to this product we already know is profitable, because the easiest way to source profitable products is called reverse sourcing, just simply based on the fact that this person has already done the work of finding a profitable item. We know that the sellers on this listing here are probably going to have some other stuff, right? This isn't the only profitable product they sell. And we can even specifically zero into the Nautica brand, which we're already looking at as an example here. Because once I get in here, I can see the maximum cost that I need to pay for these items to actually be profitable. Like these pair of shorts, for example, if I buy these for 19 bucks, I will be profitable. So let's see, what do they cost? Like 27 bucks at Nautica. They cost maybe 20 bucks at Belt. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can create some profit here. Diving into the Amazon listing here, I see if we get these from Belk, let's see what colors they have. Okay, lots of these at like 21 bucks basically. It seems like they've got pink and some other colors. If we get them for 21 bucks, we are close to profit. If we get them for 27.25, we are not really making much, but I believe we can probably do some magic here to actually make some money. And honestly, this might be another kind of good point. I see a lot of people saying, oh, I figured out how to get ungated and things, but now I can't find anything that's profitable. The main thing when sourcing, you need to remember that you make items profitable. You don't find them profitably. And I say that because I think this is going to be a perfect example, because this is $27.25 at retail price, right? So if you're a new seller, you don't know some of these things, you don't know how to create profit here. But something that does know how to make profit here is Google AI, anything like that. So for me, I like to use the Boxem AI. It's basically trained to help you sell on Amazon. And I want to say, what are some of the methods I can use at Nautica to create more profit? And let's see what it says, because usually people would just give up at that price point. But let's see. So the Boxem AI is suggesting that we should try to stack discounts using discounted gift cards. Okay, perfect. I know where we're going to buy these, but if you didn't know, you can just ask the Boxem AI. It would tell you to go buy these at Card Bear. And I want to search for Nautica gift cards. This is key. It's one of these things that we can create our margin as a seller, because what we can do is, seems like Arbitrage Card, for example, is selling 22% off gift cards, which basically means we can go to their website, we can buy a $100 gift card for 78 bucks, get it emailed to us, and then at checkout, we effectively lowered our buy cost, right? So that's one way we can lower our expenses. Now we've we've effectively saved ourselves 22% on this product. And now look, we are profitable, but our ROI isn't quite high enough. Let's see, what else does it know about? It thinks we should check for discount codes. Okay, we can definitely do that. To check for those, I usually look at Capital One Shopping. And in this case, I do see lots of these codes up here for 15% off. I know for a fact, I buy a lot of inventory here, and I know for a fact this coupon works, for example. So we can get 20% off with this coupon code. And I bet that's going to make another really big difference, right? Now we just subtracted another 20% from our cost, and now it's a profitable item, right? So we took one of these items that doesn't even look profitable at first glance. We didn't know what to look for to begin with, but as long as we pull up a storefront that's working, consult with the tools that we have in the modern sourcing era of selling on Amazon, which is just spelling out how we can make money on this product. And we did it. We were able to create the profit for this product here. And getting back to the entire point why we started sourcing stuff, Amazon fees went up this year, right? But the average per unit cost is anywhere from 8 cents to 31 cents. So let's even just be very aggressive and say we had to cost ourselves another 31 cents. Okay, now we have a 45% ROI instead of a 47% ROI. Cool. If that was something that was worth ruining your business over, like a lot of people thought it was, then you probably didn't really have the margins worth protecting and that kind of thing. So that's the big thing you got to remember is these fee increases and that kind of stuff. A lot of times they're not honestly that bad. But what I do want to emphasize is that Amazon will implement policy changes that are terrible. They're dumb. They don't make any sense. That's just part of the game. And while that particular fee increase, honestly, I don't really care. I would love to get 8 cents back per unit or whatever. Sure, we all would. To me, one of the bigger changes that Amazon did last year that was pretty problematic and I hate still is how they changed the reimbursements for inventory that they lose. Because what used to happen is if they lost your inventory, we would get paid for it like we made the sale, including the profit. But now what they did is they changed it to only getting us reimbursed for the cost of the product. And even at that, sometimes they don't even reimburse you the full cost of the product. Frankly, it is a ridiculous system and it might be my least favorite part of selling on Amazon at the moment because it is very close to theft, at least at first glance, allegedly. But what that meant tactically for my business was not, all right, I got to throw in the towel. Like we're not getting reimbursed for our stuff like we probably deserve to be reimbursed. What we did instead is start to raise our standards, right? So immediately when I started noticing things like that, just made sure myself and anyone sourcing products for my store looks for 5% extra ROI. We raised minimum ROI for sourcing things like clothes and shoes that have heavier returns and might run into more of those fees. But with the fee changes and all this kind of stuff, you can either choose to adapt or you can give up and accept it. Your choice. Because really all of this just ties into a general theme that I see. That novice Amazon seller just comes in way too often with way too high of expectations. And I say this as someone who now makes my full-time income. I bought a house, that kind of stuff, using my Amazon income. But the reality is that I didn't pull any profit on my Amazon business for almost 2 years when I started selling. I reinvested everything that I had just because I didn't have that much to start with. I wanted to snowball that money as much as possible. And in my first year, I only sold about $100,000 compared to the couple million a year we do now. And it actually took me about 3 months to even sell my first $1,000. Now, I think those numbers are a lot easier to hit these days now that we have a lot more free education and a lot more great resources like the ones I've just been showing you. But as you're jumping in, don't expect the Amazon on Instagram where people are buying Lamborghinis and stuff all the time. What you can expect is that if you're willing to work hard and apply all the information that's here on this channel publicly available to you, is you might see results like Sam saw here. 4 weeks into selling on Amazon, they're already at about $5,000 in sales. Or let's take a look at Ozias over here. They're about 100 days into selling on Amazon and they did about 25 grand in sales so far. And what I know for a fact about those people who started recently is probably didn't make a lot of sense in week 1. They've put in a lot of hours and I bet none of them have pulled a dollar out of the business yet either. Building an Amazon business requires future vision. It's not something you want to start buying Rolexes right away, right? It is a skill that will take weeks to learn the basics of, months to really start understanding what you're doing, and potentially years to build an empire of your own. As long as you're willing to accept the realistic timeline, you'll be fine. So honestly, at this point, you tell me. Maybe I'm delusional at this point after selling on Amazon for 7 years and there's lots of way better ideas out there, but I just don't see that. Every time I see people jump to the next shiny object, whether it's selling on Walmart and then Walmart makes a bunch of things harder to sell, or selling on TikTok and they change their policies, or you go do influencer program and then they cut how you can make money. Running any kind of business involves platform risk and it involves adapting with the market. That's pretty much what I see in terms of selling on Amazon personally. And as long as you're willing to run your business like a true business, I think you'll do fine. If you want the free resources that I compiled to help you hit that $10,000 month a lot faster than I did as a new seller, I'll leave a link down below. There's a couple hours in that free course, as well as 5 or 6 documents that you can download. And while you're down there, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any comments on anything we talked about today. I would love to know your take on selling on Amazon. Maybe you did it in the past and you have some experience you want to share. And at the end of the day, no matter what you choose to do, you should be proud that you're taking the process of making money on your own time online seriously. Really appreciate you watching this video. And if you want to see more information on how I like to source products for my Amazon business, go ahead and click this video right here.